Okay, so I'd be writing a small example where I would say new file is template 1.yml. Okay, and in this template 1.yml, it is again the same thing, hyphen host. Do we require hyphen? Hyphen undala avasram leda? Enduku? Yeah, you can write multiple host entries. All right. Okay, so let us become is not required in this case, but let us do it, because very soon we might be working on a directory where we don't have permissions. But for this sample, whatever I'm doing, I try to copy this file in home, Ansible, and something which does not require sudo privileges. But very soon, whenever we are modifying the Tomcats configuration, it might be in a folder where the Ansible user doesn't have a direct access. To get that access, he need to be a sudo user. So that's why even if it is not required for the sample, I have started with become as yes. Okay, and then tasks, and my first task is basic template with no dynamic content. Make sense? And then template, in template I'd be writing src, and in src I would be writing, okay, basic.j2. Okay, or let me do this. It's okay. We'll realign these files later. So new file basic.j2, which has hello and hi in it. Okay, and I want to copy this file to /home /ansible /basic. Make sense? So I created a file, and in that file I put my content, and from I am copying the file from this machine to that machine. Okay, simple, much like copy as of now. As of now, there is no change apart from just the name called as template and the file extension being J2. It is exactly copy module because there is no dynamic content. Okay, so to test this, what we do is, let us do this. I'm committing all of the changes to Git. Okay. Fine. Now let me log in into our Ansible control server and try to get the same code, whatever is there in the GitHub over there, and execute this playbook. Yeah. Fine. One problem. This is not saved. Okay. So let us start our machines. Okay. And now, Okay, just a moment. I would remove that machine's dependency, and we want all of these four machines, right? Yes. Actions, instance state, start. Okay, and after that I would add one more filter, which is instance state as running, so that I'd be interested only in the machines which I want to look into. Node 3. Yeah. So let us connect to the control server. Okay. Downloads. Okay. And then let us become Ansible user. Okay. I'll get to my home directory and git clone https://github.com/ a square zone / ansible zone.git. This is the URL. Okay. Am I seeing Ansible zone? Yes. And in the Ansible zone, what is the folder where we have written examples and classroom examples? So this is the most ideal way to work in your real-time environments. You would not be directly exploring things on servers by copying them or trying to do them. You would be putting them in Git and then you try to access it via Git. Okay, fine. Now, what is the playbook which you want to run? We want to run a playbook which is called as template one. Okay, and let us run it. There is one mistake, I think. Did I write about the uh, hosts? I have not written what is the entry of the host, right? So let me put it as all. Okay. I will not be doing any changes over there. I'll be doing every change over here and I'll be just getting the latest version on the Linux machine. So get status. Okay. Git commit -m added hosts. Okay. And now I'll be doing git pull from here. Okay. Our template one is modified. So let us run this template one. Ansible hyphen playbook and then minus capital K, because we have not put no NAPSSWD in my VA sudo file. If I put that, there is no need for this. Okay. If I put that, there is no need for this. Okay. And then template one.yml. If you want verbose and all of that, you would be using -v or -v, whatever makes sense to you. Okay. But for now, I'm going with default logging. So it would ask me for a password. So what is happening? Oh, incorrect sudo password. Fine. That is something which I can correct here itself. Okay. It says it is done. And by the way, in our host, we have entry for localhost also. Okay. So let me just check in the localhost whether this file has been present or not. Okay. So what is the file's name? Home, Ansible, and probably basic. Am I seeing the content? Hello, hi. Yeah. So similarly, it would be present on the all the other machines. I'd be testing on one random machine. So let me try to test this. Okay. SSH and directly the machine name, because our configuration is something like that. SSH. Oh, it is not copied. Okay. SSH. Okay. Now let me do ls. Am I saying basic? Yes. Cat hello and hi. Right? So basic file copying, it is basically meant for copying a file from one place to other place. Okay. As of now, there is no change between template and copy. And now let us try to add some dynamic content to it. Okay. So for that, we need to know some Jinja's syntactical constraints. Okay. So let us see what they are. Okay. Okay. There are loads and loads of stuff, but I'll be going through some of them. Okay. Templating. And then there are certain filters. Where are the, okay. Yes. This is the page where I was looking out for. Fine. So what I do is, now I want to have a variable. Now I want to have a variable and I want to define that variable's name. Or my message should look something like this. Okay. Copy and paste. This I am calling it as first. By first I mean this is my first Jinja's example. Okay. Hello, hi. And here I want the machine's host name to be appearing. I want the machine's host name over here. Okay. For some reason there is no logic behind this file. Okay. All of the logic makes sense when we look at the configuration of any configuration file like users.xml or mysql.conf, then it makes sense. But for now, let us add some ad hoc entries. What is it I want? I want the host name of that machine wherever I have copied this. Okay. So how can I get those details? ఏ మెషిన్ లో అయితే ఇది రన్ అవుతుందో ఆ మెషిన్ హోస్ట్ నేమ్ కావాలి నాకు. Facts. Yeah, wonderful. So to test that, what is it I can run? Ansible -m setup, and then let me just get DB server, because that is the only one server which we have. Okay. Otherwise, all the entries are multiple, right? Are we getting everything? Okay. So what is it I want? Host name, right? So what is the other thing which we can do? Okay. I'll search it. Then we would write some filters on it. Ansible underscore host name, right? We have this. So let us copy this variable name and put it at some place. This is the first variable which can get us that. Okay. And now, what are the other things? Distribution, not interested. Okay. Yeah. I think Ansible underscore host name, we would use the same thing, which would give us the machine's name. And in this file, I want that. In this file, I want to fill that host name directly. So how are we using this syntax? Yeah, this is the same syntax which we have used for variables, right? With items and all of that. Yeah. I'd be writing Ansible underscore host name. So let us see whether this works out or not. Okay. What is this variable? This variable is basically a fact from the system, which gets collected whenever you are running your playbook. Okay. Fine. I do this. And let me write one more playbook around it, which is template hyphen. Let me write it as first.yml. Okay. And then hosts. Let us apply it on all. Anyway, it is not any configuration file, so let us apply it on all. Okay. Do you want to become? I don't think so, but yeah, let us do that. Yeah. And in the task, name first template task. Okay. And here I would be using a module called as template. In this template, src. What is source? Source equals to first.j2, right? First.j2. And destination is home Ansible first. Okay, I'm not using any variable, guys, but whenever you are using, I want your destinations to be as variables, because tomorrow you want your files probably at a different place. Okay, because variables, creating the variables might defeat the purpose. I'm not using it right now. Okay, so when you are doing your samples, don't have everything hard coded. Okay, define this destinations in group vars or host vars, whatever makes sense to you. Okay, I am not doing that. Right, fine. So let us work out on this sample. So yeah. So let me do it from here itself. Control Shift V wide and focus. Yes. Okay. Get commit -m added first template. Get push. If you want, you can attach the git bash also here. Okay. So fine. I'll be using this only from now on. Since we have a terminal over here, we can use. If I want, I can associate git bash from here terminal itself. Okay. So I've done this. So I've gone to go on to the other machine, and then I would do git. Fine. Okay. And then what is the playbook which I need to run? Ansible hyphen playbook minus capital K, and then template hyphen first dot ym. Simple, right? Okay. Fine. Now let us look into this machine and let us see whether the host name is coming up or not. So cat home Ansible first. So am I getting something? IP underscore whatever this machine's IP address is. Exactly the same thing whatever you are seeing over here. Okay. Let me connect to one more ad hoc machine. So I take this last one. Okay. I think we have one of the machine where we have done SSH, right? So I'd be using the same SSH. Okay. Now ls. What is this machine's host name? 172.31 and all of that. So we should have this entry in our first file. So cat first. So what is the line over here? So I have not added a new line character after that. So that's why your terminal is appearing after that. Okay. So if you want to make it on the next line, what you can do is you can go to your first.j2, and after this just give one more carriage line end. Okay. So that this adds new line so that your terminal will not confuse you. This could be done. Okay. But that's fine. Okay. Okay. So far so good. Now I want some variable of my file over here. Some variable. Okay. So for that essence of it, what I would do is Okay, I would copy home. We had done some variables examples over here, right? So where were they? Playbooks, right? It's okay. Let us create it. Okay. I just want an inventory file, so that's why I'm copying the inventory file. Let's see. Ansible, and then host. It is CP, not CD. Okay. And then I want it over here. Okay. Now this is a host file which I would be basically copying and doing the stuff. Or the other way of looking at it is I can do vi host, copy all of the content. Okay. So I would be interested only in the content which is, why everything is commented out here. Yes. This is what I am interested in. Okay. So I would not, yeah, let us have local host also. It's okay. So what I would do is I'd create a new file called as inventory, and in this inventory I'll blindly copy this. Okay, exactly the same contents. I'm not changing anything. Okay, because my setup has not been changed. And now I want variables. Okay, so whenever I want variables, I can define it over here, or I can define it in the folders itself. Because folders is a better abstracted way, I am going with folders. So I'd create variable called as username. Okay, and I would have a group var and basically host var, and I'll be working this time only out of, where is that file, inventory. Yes, I'll be working only out of Ubuntu systems this time. I'll not be doing it for all, but you can extend this example to all. Yeah, so Ubuntu is a group and these two are the machines. So first thing which I need to do is make their examples, classroom examples, and after that what is the host name? Group underscore wars. Yeah, and similarly host underscore wars, right? In group underscore wars you would be creating files with group name, and in host underscore wars you would be creating files with host name. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. So in group underscore var I would go and create a new file called as Ubuntu, and in here I would write a YML file where I would be saying as username. Let me not write Ansible, I don't know. Fine. And now in host vars I need to create a machine with host entries, right? So I need to create a machine with one of this machine's name. So I'd be taking this. Okay. Host vars. Okay. And here I'd be writing exactly what was the entry which I have written. Username, right? Here I would be writing it as Ansible 1. Okay. Fine. Okay. File. Okay. So we have written group vars called as Ubuntu. There the username is I don't know, and the host vars. And let us write entry also for the other machine. Okay. So for the other machine, I'd create a new file, and this file's name would be that machine's name, and then I'd be writing username, and then I'd be calling it as Ansible. Okay. My template is quite simple now. It is just first.j2, most like first.j2. Okay. With one more change added to it, which is username. So I'd be writing it as username is, what is our variable's name? Fine. Username is our variable. What was our variable's name which we have been writing? Username. Okay. So the basic essence of this file is I want this file to have the following contents. Okay. In case of the first machine, it should have hello, hi, that machine's name or hi, the host name, and after that username is Ansible 1. On the second machine, it should be username is Ansible 2. Okay. For the readability, let me add a new line character after it. Whenever we are whenever we are echoing the contents of it, it should be simple. Fine. So far, are we good or do we have any confusion on this? What is it I'm playing around with? I'm playing around with file contents. Okay. Fine. Now, let me do the same stuff again. Git status, and whenever you are doing, either enable autosave, okay, or basically save all before doing it. Fine. So I'd be doing, man, git status, git add all of these changes. For the people who don't know Git, don't worry about it. I am just uploading the changes to the GitHub server, and after that I am downloading. For the people who know it, I think you know the commands whatever I am executing, right? Added inventory with vars. Okay, and then git. Okay, so I'd go on to this machine. Okay, rm minus rf host. I don't want the host. I'd be doing git pull operation, which is syncing the nodes, and basically I have all of these changes. Okay, now there is only one change left, which is about basically writing the contents. So what was our file which we were working on earlier? Template -1 or something like that, right? Template -first. So I'd be writing the second task in this. I don't want to create multiple playbooks. So name, second, template, task. Okay. Again, I want to use a module called as template, and in that there is source. And what is my source now? Second dot j2, and destination will be home Ansible second. Make sense? So this is the only change which I have done. I have added one more task to the existing playbook, and I would be executing the playbook with the same command. This time I have written a new template file, okay, which basically is not about the variables which are from the facts, but this is from the variables which you have created. So we are just seeing whether that stuff works or not. Okay, fine. Now I have to commit this change one more time, right? So git status, git add, git commit minus m added changes in template playbook git push. So all of these changes are also on the GitHub. So they will be visible to you also. Okay, and I'd go over here, and I'm just saying git pull. So literally I would be executing the same command of what I have done for my last stuff. Okay, fine. But there is only one change that is required. We have not addressed all the hosts. We have addressed only hosts from Ubuntu. So one change which I would be doing over here is, okay, I'll not change in the code stuff, but I would be changing only on my Linux machine, which is vi template hyphen first.yml. With my host entries, I would change it from all to Ubuntu. Okay, fine, makes sense. But actually, if I have created all the host vars and all the group vars, you can go with all. Okay, so I'm just doing it for two things, so that's why I've added Ubuntu. Now let us run this. Ansible hyphen playbook minus k and then template hyphen first.yml. Okay, it says it has done it. So let us log in into one of these machines. What is our files content should be? It should have a new section called as username and it should have a respective content in that based out of whatever we have configured. So okay, are we seeing anything called a second? Yes. So let us cat the contents. Are you seeing it? Username is Ansible 2, right? Makes it's basically simple way. Okay. So what is that we can do from playbooks at its core? You can create dynamic content, okay, with the facts and also with your variables. Okay. So there are certain things which Jinja 2 templating system makes it easier because of its Python presence. Okay. For example, if I want Ansible 2 username is Ansible 2 with all of them in capital letters. So there is no need for you to write logic. There are many things which Jinja 2 templating system supports already. Okay. So those were the functions which you are looking at this case. Okay. Let us go back to the documentation. Okay, here you are seeing two JSON, two nice JSON and all of this, right? There are many functions which Ansible or which Jinja templates basically give. Okay, for example, you have a list of all of the things, but you want to display only max out of it. So there is no need for you to write any logic. You can write min and max. In your template while you are writing your list, just use filter and then use min or max. Okay. And then you want only unique one, you want union ones. There are many functions because this is not developed for Ansible in any case. It is a basically Python based templating system, so it has many things than what we essentially want. So how many times will you basically change this and all of that? It does not make too much of a difference because other providers, for example, if you want to do the same aspect in uh, Puppet or Chef, you need to take the rescue of Ruby. You need to go to the rescue of the Ruby. Here it is not required. You can use this templating system and there are many and many functions around it. So for example, so out of this 100, just give me some random value. So you can play around with all of this. So there are a whole lot of things. Okay, whole lot. Okay, but just look at two important things which are basically capitalizing and then joining the stuff. These are the only two things which are important, but rest of the things, yeah, it's okay. Even if you want to do it, you can come to this page, search for the activity which you want to do and then do it. But most of the things are not quite as much as used. For example, how many times will you write a random entry in the configuration files? You don't do that, right? So for that reason, but the whole point of templating system is you can do hell a lot, too much. For example, see, it has even capabilities of calculating hashes. Okay, very strongly supported templating system, right? Very strongly supported template system. Okay, but see, All of this, regular expressions and all of that. Okay. Yeah. This useful filters actually make sense to us. Okay. These are the things which mostly you might use. You might have a list of items. Okay. Server name list list ఉన్నాయి. And in the file you have to write all the names of those servers, comma separated. Okay. So let us assume that your variable is this. Okay. Server 1 and server 2. But your configuration file expects the entry to be like this. Server 1, comma, server 2. Okay. So how would you write this? So that's the case where he's trying to tell you whenever you have a list and you want to add some character in between, use something called as join. And rather than space, give comma there. If your configuration files need colon, give colon there. So this strong list is supported. Okay. Just look at this useful other useful filters, right? This is the most useful area of all of this. So directory name, expand user, real path, all of this. Okay. Just write your variables around this. అంటే ఒక డైరెక్టరీ నేమ్ వేరియబుల్ తీసుకుని దాన్ని డిస్ప్లే చేయండి. ఎక్స్పాండ్ అని చూడండి నేమ్ వస్తుందో చూడండి. సో జస్ట్ దిస్ ఇస్ సంథింగ్ విచ్ యూ కెన్ ప్లే అరౌండ్ విత్. ఓకే. సో now let us do something which is which really makes sense. Okay. So what I would do is after this after showing this file I would take questions from you. Yeah. So we have installed Tomcat on these machines, right? Yes, on Ubuntu machines specifically. So in these machines, so cd var lib oh, this is control server. So let me log in into one of the machines. Okay. Tomcat we are not installed on the control server, right? We have installed on other machines. So okay, cd var lib Tomcat 7, and let me see is there anything which is important for us. So cd conf, no. Let me search in Google for that configuration file. Okay, installing Tomcat 7 on Ubuntu DigitalOcean's document, because I'd get the paths from here. And that's what I'm interested. It would be in user share if not from here. Okay, fine. There will be a file called as etc default Tomcat 7. Okay, and in this file you need to add these two entries. What are you seeing in red? In this file you need to add entries. So let us do some activity around here. Okay, so cat etc default Tomcat 7, a very huge file. Okay, for this file I need to create a templating system now. Okay, so how can I do that? So first is I want this file on my Windows machine. I want this file on my Windows machine. So let me download this file first. Okay, so how can I download it? Any way of downloading? Can I use SCP by any chance? Yes. Okay, this is my control server, and I'm quite sure that our node 1 is Ubuntu itself. If it is not the case, just click on connect. You would see the username and you would be able to identify. Okay, so I want to connect to this machine. Okay, I would be copying this. Okay, and basically what I would do is yeah, so let me do it from here. SSH Ansible @ Okay. I want to basically do out of this machine. So since SSH is working, I'd be using SCP. Okay. Ansible @ okay. This is more sensible way, I think. And where is that? What is the file which I want to copy? @C. What is that? @C default and Tomcat 7. Okay. @C default and Tomcat 7 to here. Okay. Let me do ls. Am I seeing something called as Tomcat 7? Yeah. So let me move this file. Okay. Or let me copy this file as of now from Tomcat 7 to examples, and in that classroom examples, and in that, since it is a templating file, what is that I have to rename it to? .j2. Make sense? Right? And now we would have Tomcat 7.j2. Now let us go through the documentation and see what is the line which he is asking us to change. Java_opts. So let us search for that. Java_opts. Okay. And he wants us to add some line over here. Okay. Java_opts equal to something. Okay. So I'd go over here and copy the contents of all of this, right? Or let me copy the complete line for the sake of simplicity. Yeah. Copy this line, and then I would be adding that over here. And out of this, what is the configuration which I want to give was, I want to give these two things. What is the perm size? Okay. And then what is the maximum size which you want to give? I want to make it as a configuration. So for this, what I would do is, we have variables, right? Do we have variables? Yes. And in that, I'd be creating a variables called as my max perm size, or let me write as permutation size directly. Perm size as 256. Okay. Heap size as 512. Okay. And I want to use that. So what is that I have to replace? Go to that file, and wherever you are seeing 512, okay, what is the syntax which you need to write? Okay. This is what? Heap size, right? Done. And this is what? Permutation size. So, okay. Tomorrow, if you want for certain machine to the permutation size to be 2 GB and heap size to be 4 GB, what is that you need to change? You need to add in your host a variable which basically overrides that value, so that you have written a configuration which changes from machine to machine. At a group level, we have created a default value which is 256 and 512. Okay. Now, to copy this, template is very simple to write. Go to the template_first. Okay. And create name Tomcat 7 default settings. Okay. Template. And what is the source for us? Tomcat 7.j2, and destination is going to be @C default and Tomcat 7. After this, notify. Okay. What is that we have to notify? Tomcat service should be restarted, right? Yeah. I am not doing this, but I want you guys to do this. Do notify and write a handler which basically handles Tomcat restart. This is where actual handler comes or makes sense, right? I'm not doing that, but I would want you guys to do it because I think we have shown notify already, right? Yeah. Here you would write notify, and after that, let us go back with this documentation. There is one more file which these guys change. There is something called as tomcat underscore users. Okay. I want you to even write entries for that. So for this, what is that you would be doing? You would be going to your group and you would be creating two variables. We already have a username variable and you need to create a variable called as password. So, and then you have to copy that into etc tomcat7 tomcat7 users.xml. Will you be able to do that? Yes. So this is the whole essence of templating. Whenever you want to change any configuration files and your configuration file is not completely static, there might be certain dynamic attributes to it, you would be using a templating system. Templating system is common to all the configuration languages, but here the templating system whatever we are using is Jinja 2 templating system. Since it is a Python's templating system, it has some more additional advantages like join and all of that functions come in directly. Okay, so that's the whole advantage of using this stuff. Okay, so will you execute this for me and just tell me whether it is working or not? I have to commit these changes. I want you to run this and tell me whether they are working or not. But to this, there should be a notify and there should be a handler also. Fine. So did we understood the essence of templates now? When compared to files, files is you directly copy the contents, no changes. Here also we are copying the file with some changes, right? So that's the essence of it. Fine. So now let me look at the questions. I have 30 servers under that group vars. Do we need to create 30 server host vars? No, not really. There is no need for you to write any host var. Just write group var. We would create a host var only when there is an entry in group var which we don't want to apply it to one of the machine. For example, destination of your 29 servers is same, but only on one server your destination is different. So you create a group var. Let us assume that your group is Ubuntu. Okay, so group vars, and you would be writing in host vars only one entry of one server because rest of the 29 servers have same configuration, so they go with group vars. The only one machine where you don't want to apply this configuration, you would be writing the host vars. It is not necessary for you to have host var entry for every server. I have written it because I have different values for every server, right? So that's the only aspect around it. So any other questions on this? Nothing. Clear? Everything is clear. Wonderful. If I have more than more groups, use all. If you want to apply it to the all servers, there is an entry which you can create for all, right? Yeah. Fine then. .j2 is a mandatory extension. Yes, it is, because we are using Jinja 2 templates over here. It is a mandatory templating.